Welcome back to my channel. Please subscribe, like, and comment your thoughts on this video. So in this video, a lady shares how she lost out on a job offer all because of speaking against Israel and supporting Palestinians. Now, this is really sad, but not surprising at all. We've seen quite a number of people being fired for supporting Israel, especially those in the entertainment industry. Do you remember them signing and agreeing to what that letter said? Well, this is just an example of how people are pushed in a corner where they have to choose between doing the right thing or keeping their job. Whoever opposes risks losing their job or a job offer. Not just in America, this is happening around the world. Like, speaking up or supporting Palestinians is costing many to lose jobs and job offers, which is not and shouldn't be the case. For now, let's check out this video as a lady shares her story.
I just lost my whole job because I was pro-Palestine. If you think that the whole thing that's happening over there has no effect to you here, you're crazy. I was working with, people from Israel, and she kept putting in the group chat, oh, pray for Israel, forward to your friends, see what's going on. Nobody would answer in the group chat, mind you. Then she would make comments in person when she would see me and be like, oh, did you see what's happening? And I'm just like, okay, but you do see what's happening, right? In Gaza, like, do you see that? Do you see what's happening to the children? She had a picture of Hamas calling them murderers on the window. She put it on the window of the business. I told her to take it down. She didn't like that. She also didn't like that we had Palestinian friends, some of, our colleagues. And she specifically said that she did not want to have any Muslim clients. This is literally in our faces. And then she had the nerve to say that me, because I'm Spanish, and my coworker, because she's Puerto Rican and she's Latin, okay, Latina and then Spanish, she said because we're of the same culture that we're loud and we like our hood. Excuse me? I think she's just mad because I just kept talking about the Palestinians. So then I tell her, I'm like, well, that's like me telling you, I was like, I'm Spanish, she's Latina, but that's like me telling you that the Israelis and the Palestinians, you guys are of the same culture. Oh, she did not like that. She did not like it. So much. And then she says, I know that you're pro-Palestine. Well, obviously I'm pro-Palestine. Obviously. Why are we bringing politics into a business? Why are we doing that? Why? And the irony is, I literally just did a meeting with an owner. And when I called her, because she asked me, she was like, oh, where are you currently working right now? Da, 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 da. And I told her I'm working here. And she asked me, why do I want to leave? And I told her everything that I just said. And then she told me, she's like, that's so disgusting. But you want to know something funny? Mind you, this was over the phone. And she's like, I'm Palestinian. Like, look at how God works. You see that? That is exactly how God works. Now I have no job, and now I'm most likely going to work with her. How crazy? How crazy? And literally, she said the same thing. She's like, why would they bring politics into business? That's why, I don't know, man.
Because I decided to speak out against Israel and to support the Palestinians, I lost out on a job offer. I've already spoken about this on Twitter, so you can go to my Twitter and kind of read the thread of what transpired. But basically, I've been in conversation and discussion with this organization for the past few months. Went through lots of interviews, I think 6 total, lots of, coffees, meetings, discussions. Because of the field I'm in, it does, and because this was a very high-ranking position, it does take a really long time. So the 6 interviews is not abnormal. I'm very friendly with the headhunter who reached out to me. I actually didn't apply for this job. They reached out to me. They wanted me to come on board. And she gave me a call a couple days ago and said, hey, listen, they do love you, but officially, they're gonna go with somebody else. Unofficially, my advice is that you don't speak about political things on your social media for a while. And I said, what do you mean? She's like, well, this current issue with Israel and Palestine, I think, may have impacted their decision. So I was the front contender. I was the contender, basically. And again, they reached out to me. But because I spoke out against the genocide of Palestinians, that I didn't get the job. And it's fine, I'm okay with it because ultimately my conscience is clear. I am, a genocide researcher, I'm a genocide educator, and I'm a genocide survivor myself. So there isn't a job, in my opinion, that is worth the money it would take for me to stay silent while other genocides transpire. The hypocritical thing is that this organization has actually invited me to speak before. So I have spoken before to their teams about the Bosnian genocide, as well as genocide and the war that was happening in Ukraine. And the discussion was basically the similarities between what was happening in Bosnia and Ukraine. So it's not that, organizations and companies don't know what I do. Like, genocide research and education is a really big, significant part of my career. They're very well aware of it. It was just because I spoke out against Israel that the job was, the job offer was basically rescinded. And it sucks. I mean, I was angry. I was really pissed off. But I'm okay. Like, I think for me, my conscience is clear. I can't work anywhere where I have to keep quiet while there's great injustices happening. I can't work at a place where I'm meant to stay quiet about genocide. I just can't do that. That would destroy me. That would eat at my very, very soul. It was a dream job. It was a high-ranking job, probably the highest rank that I could achieve in my career. But it is what it is. We all make the choices to speak out about things. I knew it was a risk speaking out for Palestine and against the genocide of Palestinians. I knew that, and I took that risk, and I'm okay with the fact that ultimately they decided not to go with me because of that, because it's their loss. I would have kicked ass at that job. I would have been brilliant, and I feel okay with it because, again, my conscience is clear. I feel good. I can't stay silent. So if you are somebody who is worried whether or not speaking out against Palestine might get you fired, might get you opportunities, lost or rescinded, might get you in trouble, do know that there are, attorneys that you can reach out to. There's organizations that you can reach out to if your employer is basically trying to get you to stay quiet. You have every single right to speak out. This is a completely different situation for me because obviously I was not officially their employee, so I can't really go the route of suing them and to prove that they passed me over specifically because of the genocide in Palestine would be very, very difficult. And, they're a very well-funded organization with lots of lawyers and a great legal team. So it's fine. But if you are somebody who's worried about speaking out, obviously make the decision yourself. Your livelihood matters, as does speaking out. But do know that there are options that you have. You are entitled to free speech outside of work. You are entitled to expressing your political opinions outside of work. That is completely fine. So yeah, life moves on. There will be other dream jobs and other careers, and I will be fine. And I will not shut up about Palestine. I will not shut up about the genocide that is currently happening. And I think as a genocide survivor, the expectation for me to stay silent on an ongoing genocide in a different part is just ridiculous. I will absolutely never be that kind of person that gets pressured into staying silent and being quiet. That's just not me. It's never going to be me. And ultimately, my conscience is clear. So, free Palestine, and please continue to speak out about the genocide that is happening.
So I've been making a lot of pro-Palestine content on here, a lot of things criticizing Israel, and I have great news. Because I did that so much, I got kicked off the show I ran, right? So many people called the bar I was performing at and complained that I got removed from the show. So it's really nice to see that it's happening all over. People who are supporting Palestine are literally losing their jobs, and I'm proud to count myself among them. Pretty fucking crazy, man, to just be like, genocide is bad, and then you're like, well, we can no longer work with you. You're in favor of babies being alive. So that's disappointing, but I'm gonna not stop. So thanks for everybody that supports me.
Guys, let's now talk about what is happening in depth. So several people across professions such as lawyers and activists say they have lost jobs for supporting the Palestinians in the Israel-Hamas war. So what's happening is especially Palestinians and Muslims are being fired from their positions for something as simple as sharing a pro-Palestinian post on their Instagram story. Some people are being fired, some are formally disciplined, and some are being silenced and told not to talk about it. Why are people losing their jobs for supporting Palestine in economic opportunities? Well, the CEO of a tech conference called Web Summit Party Cause Grace is stepping down from his CEO position because he simply stated on Twitter/X, quote, "War crimes are war crimes even when committed by allies and should be called out for what they are." But wait, have you ever heard of BDS? It stands for Boycott, Divestment and Economic Sanctions, and it is a Palestinian-led movement that promotes boycott against Israeli goods, especially companies that operate in the occupied territories of the Palestinians according to international law. And do you know that there are 32 American states in the United States that have passed anti-BDS laws that forbid American citizens and American workers for participating in the boycott? Yes, there are laws that are being passed in the United States, the so-called land of the free, that attack the First Amendment right to free speech that Americans enjoy. Now, do you remember the Boston Tea Party, one of the events that led to the American Revolution? Boycotting is the most American thing you can do, and who lobbies these anti-American speech laws? Guys, let me present to you AIPAC, one of the most powerful lobbying groups in the United States. Now, I remember sharing a video where I was talking about AIPAC. If you haven't seen it, then check through my channel. You will find that video and you will understand what I'm talking about. Now, while this situation is particularly aggravated in the United States because of the US government's constant show of support for Israel, it is happening all around the world. In India, people are facing charges for showing solidarity with Palestine. On October 16, around 60 students were detained in Delhi for taking out a pro-Palestine protest at Jantar Manta. Earlier, several students of Aligarh Muslim University were also detained similarly. Now, pro-Palestine supporters who openly show solidarity with Palestinians in Gaza have faced severe assaults and harassments from pro-Israel affiliates. Palestine Legal, a US-based civil rights organization that monitors anti-Palestinian incidents, did issue a report detailing that heightened targeting of Palestine advocates in the country has since led to over 260 plus of harassment and censorship attempts. In a series of tweets on X, Palestine Legal explained how pro-Palestinian advocates are facing a wave of backlash that is continually affecting personal and professional lives. Now, David Velasco, the editor-in-chief of Art Forum magazine, was reportedly fired after the magazine published an open letter in response to the war. Celebrated U.S. photographer Nan Godin and other artists have said they will no longer work with Art Forum after the magazine's termination of Velasco. And the New York Times reported, "I've never lived through a more chilling period." Godin, who is Jewish and had signed the open letter, said to the Times, "People are being blacklisted, people are losing their jobs. At least 4 editors have resigned in response to Velasco's dismissal." Zach Hatfield, a former senior editor for the magazine, announced online that he had left Art Forum and called Velasco's firing unacceptable. David Velasco's firing is unacceptable and boards ominously for the future of the magazine, Hatfield wrote on X, formerly known as Twitter. On October 19, the top art magazine posted a letter entitled "An Open Letter from the Art Community to Cultural Organizations," and the letter, signed by thousands of artists and cultural workers, including Godfin, called for an immediate ceasefire, humanitarian aid into Gaza, and broader Palestinian liberation. "We support Palestinian liberation and call for an end to the unaliving and harming of all civilians, an immediate ceasefire, the passage of humanitarian aid into Gaza, and the end of the complicity of our governing bodies in grave human rights violations and war crimes," the letter read in part. Velasco was fired shortly after the latest publication, and he had served as Art Forum's editor-in-chief for 6 years. "I have no regrets," Velasco said in an email to the New York Times. "I'm disappointed that a magazine that has always stood for freedom of speech and the voices of artists has bent to outside pressure." In addition to Velasco, another prominent editor was fired after making a Twitter post about Gaza. Michael Elson was removed as editor-in-chief of eLife, an academic science journal. Elson confirmed in a post to X. "I have been informed that I am being replaced as the editor-in-chief of eLife for retweeting a piece from satirical US website The Onion that calls out indifference to the lives of Palestinian civilians." Elson was fired after retweeting an article from The Onion entitled "Unalived Gazans Criticized for Not Using Last Words to Condemn Hamas." Now, Elson, who is Jewish and has a family from Israel, praised The Onion as having more courage, insight, and moral clarity than the leaders of every academic institution put together. An open letter to eLife and its board, which criticized Elson's dismissal, has circulated and garnered nearly 2,000 signatures. A top executive at the talent agency Creative Arts Agency, CAA, has also faced backlash and it's stepping back from leadership roles after reposting an Instagram story on Israel's treatment of Palestinians. Now, these are some of the people that have experienced this. So what do you, my viewers, have to say about this video? Kindly share your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video.